Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And today I'm going to read two meditations, and it's so funny because one of them is about being on vacation, which I just was on vacation, and then taking things for granted when we come home, and I want to talk about that. And you know, what's interesting is I have all of my dogs around me right now. Tucker is sitting right here, and Pee-Pee is sitting right here, and then Boo Radley is sitting behind me as well. And when I'm on vacation, I was just talking to a friend about this last night. Like, I had such a fantastic vacation, but we were gone so long. And about 3 days in, always on vacation, I start really missing my dogs. And I'm so thankful that, you know, my best friend owns a dog kennel and she watches our dogs very closely. So she always sends me videos and pictures, and I talk to her every day. So I can literally call her every day and ask her how the dogs are doing and things like that. And so I still feel very connected to them, but I miss them while I'm gone too. So, you know, it's really hard. So while I'm on vacation, I think because I'm such a homebody, there's a lot that I miss about my home. But then when I'm home, I miss being on vacation. So it's this kind of like emotional dichotomy that I live in, you know, of wanting to be on vacation, but then I'm on vacation and I miss home as well. And, you know, I was sitting here and I was reading this meditation today, and it's funny because I think what that really says is what a blessing I have in my life, that I'm so content with being at home, but I also have the ability to go on vacation. And what a dream life, you know? Like, I just feel so blessed to have that life. So I'm so thankful for that. And now that we're home, my husband and I are planning our next vacation and what we're going to do. And we're really excited because at some point this summer, we're going to go and visit my brother-in-law and his girlfriend in San Diego. And I'm really excited about that. I think we're aiming maybe for around like our anniversary weekend and doing like a long weekend there. So anyway, I want to read these meditations today. One is about, well, the Melody Beatty one I have not read, so I'm going to read that to you, and that is about enjoyment. And then the one from the Linda Picone book, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations, is about vacation versus home. So I'm going to start with that one because it really, I don't know, like it struck a chord with me when I read it today. New Landscapes, April 13th. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Marcel Proust. When we're on vacation, we have a heightened interest in everything around us. Our eyes are wide open. We try new things and visit new places. We are upbeat and optimistic. And it was interesting when I read that specific paragraph because it really reminded me, if you watch my vlog, there was a day that we rented a Jeep and we kind of went to some different like we went to Tulum and we went to Coba in Mexico to see the ruins there. And this was something that was on my husband's bucket list. Like he really wanted to see. And I had been to Tulum before, but I had never been to Coba. And I had heard that it was like the more expansive one to go to. And, you know, just driving around in the Jeep for the day and seeing the sights and driving through these small towns. And, you know, it was so interesting because if you watch my vlog as well, you know that I'm working on another book, and I'm kind of like in my head coming up with what you know, and this is a fictional book that I'm thinking about writing. And it was interesting because a lot of it, I like started getting new ideas by seeing new landscapes, and it inspired this creativity in me just by being somewhere else, you know? And I don't know, like, seeing other people's lives in reference to mine, you know, and we met so many people when we were on vacation. When we were in Miami, we met people from all over the world, you know, little Boo Radley. We met people, you know, from Dubai and France and Belgium and Spain and South America. And, you know, we met so many, all over the United States, Canadians. I feel like on this trip, I met so many Canadians. And, you know, and just the fact that we're so close, I think we're all so alike, and we're not, you know. And it's interesting to just meet somebody and hear about where they're from and learn new things and see the world through new eyes. So I think people have really been a way for me to learn new things about the world as well. And I always try to stay open to that experience. And then when we were in Mexico, it was fantastic because at the resort we stayed in, there were so many people there. We met so many people, like, you know, Mexicans that were on vacation, that were from Mexico City and other areas like Veracruz, and they were telling us about, you know, like, what their life is like. We met this girl from Mexico City who is like an architect, and she was telling us about what she does, and that she travels to Miami a lot, and, you know, she was telling us about like what university is like in Mexico, and just to hear all this stuff. And her friend worked for a pharmaceutical company that was here, that's located here in Indianapolis, you know, and she was telling us about her experience going to college and how different it was and how similar it was from the United States. So just to learn people's stories, I'm such a person that loves stories, you know, and I just love to hear, I'm laughing because I talked about this in my video last night. The word stories is kind of a joke between my friend Valerie and I, but, you know, I think it was 2 days ago I was talking about that actually, you know, but I love to hear other people's stories, and I learned so much really about myself through other people's world experiences. Sometimes I learn about how blessed my life is. Sometimes I learn what a limited, sheltered life I live, you know? And I think we only grow by expanding our horizons and meeting other people. There was a book, I think it's by Ann Tyler, called The Armchair Traveler. And basically it's, you know, like this idea that, the book is not about this necessarily, but it's this idea that you don't have to travel anywhere, you know? Like, if you don't have the ability to leave where you are because of, you know, you don't have the finances to travel around the world or do those kinds of things, and you don't have the opportunities, and a lot of people physically can't go places, you know? So maybe your entire life, you're just in one small radius of a town. A lot of people don't go any further than that. That doesn't mean that you can't be open to new experiences through movies, through documentaries, through music, through books, through stories, through articles, you know, just reading people's experiences online, things like that. YouTube is a fantastic way to learn about new people, you know, and their stories. And I love that. I love hearing about people's stories and their experiences and how their life is different than mine. So anyway, I really like that paragraph. So let's get back to the meditation. When we're on, I'll read it again. When we're on vacation, we have a heightened interest in everything around. Should I start from the very beginning? Okay. The quote, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes." Marcel Proust. When we're on vacation, we have a heightened interest in everything around us. Our eyes are wide open. We try new things and visit new places. We are upbeat and optimistic. At home, we take many things for granted. Habit blinds us to discoveries that lie right before our eyes. We may never visit attractions that outsiders travel miles to see. We miss out on all sorts of opportunities because we're simply not looking for them. For fun, I will pretend to be a tourist in my own town. What would someone visiting for the first time see that I take for granted? And, you know, it's such an interesting point of view because I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, which is not a bad city. It's a great city. It's affordable. It's safe. I mean, to some degree, it's pretty safe. And, you know, there's a lot of really great things about Indianapolis. You know, it's a great place to raise kids. It's a great place to raise a family. And, you know, like, I mean, in talking to friends of mine that live in other parts of the country and other places, to live here is very affordable compared to living in other parts of the country. You know, there's a lot of great things about Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is expanding. We have a huge arts district now, and it's interesting because when we're on vacation, when people ask us where we're from, especially like, if you're from the United States and we say Indianapolis, people typically know where that's at. But if we're meeting somebody that's from Dubai, or let's say, you know, like France or Peru or something, we typically will say Indianapolis, and they look at us just kind of with like a blank stare, and we'll say like the Indianapolis 500. And a lot of people know Indianapolis because of the Indianapolis 500 being like the race capital of the world. Supposedly, don't come for me if you're a race fan and you're like, no, it's not. But outside of that, people don't know it. So we'll say, we're by Chicago. And they'll say, oh, Chicago. And they'll be like, what part of Chicago do you live in? And we're like, no, we don't live in Chicago. We live like 3 hours south of Chicago. But, you know, it's interesting because, like, Alex and I on this trip, there was a point when we were talking to somebody, and they're like, oh, like, we're, you know, they were traveling all across the country for, like, work. And they're like, oh, I go to South Carolina, I go to North Carolina, I go here, I go there, Texas, I think they said, and stuff. And they said something about having flown through Indianapolis. And, you know, it was interesting because we're like, well, there's nothing to see. And that's kind of what we always say, is there's nothing to see. And I looked at Alex specifically when we were talking to this couple, and I said, oh, no. This was, I think, the couple that we were talking to that had just gotten married like 2 days before us. They were so sweet. Or 2 days before they came on vacation and we met them. They were on their honeymoon. And we were telling them, they were from the Midwest as well. They were from Oklahoma. And, we said, oh, there's not a lot to see. And I looked at Alex and I said, we've got to stop saying that, like, even though we're planning on moving to Florida, we always want to keep a place in Indianapolis because it's where our family is. It's where our home is. And he goes, we do need to stop saying that. Like, we always put down our hometown. And I think a lot of people do that. Instead of having hometown pride, I have a lot of pride in being from Indianapolis. But that being said, like, I don't go and do a lot of things that are in Indianapolis, if that makes sense. Like, I don't go travel around and look, back in the day, I used to go do the art museums and all this kind of stuff. And it was interesting, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and they said something about when their parents were visiting, they took them to this art museum here, right? And it was called yeah, the dogs are over here wrestling. It's called like Newlands or Newfoundlands or somebody from Indianapolis will be like, they'll put it in the comment section below, watch. But Newcastle or something, I don't know. But anyway, all I know is that there were billboards everywhere in Indianapolis at Christmas time because they supposedly had this beautiful, beautiful like Christmas light thing that you could drive through, right? And I said, oh, that one? They said, yeah. And I said, oh, I didn't realize it was a museum. And they said, yeah, it's a modern art museum. And I said, I didn't even know that, right? And they go, oh, well, we got a yearly membership and whatever. It's really fun. They have beautiful gardens. And I thought, I gotta go see that. Like, there's so many things here, that I haven't even seen in my own hometown. We have some restaurants in Indianapolis that have been like on Bon Appetit magazine's top 10 restaurants in the country. I've never been to it, And I think we go to the same place for brunch every Sunday because we love it. It's home, But I think there's something about being a tourist in your hometown and learning new things about even just your neighborhood or the people around you, And it was interesting because we got this thing in our neighborhood, like this neighborhood like letter, and it said that they're doing this new thing where like one day, like one Friday or Saturday a month, they're going to do these host dinners. And so they're going to have like, it would be like at several different houses, but on the same night. And that like 5 couples will go to one house and they'll all meet each other and get to know each other. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, please. Like I don't want any part of this. And then I like left it out there and Alex and I were talking about it and I was like, that might be kind of nice, to meet some neighbors. He was like, I agree. Like we don't know really any of our neighbors except for the people that live like right directly around us and one friend of my aunt and my mother's that lives in our neighborhood. So I thought, that might be a nice way to meet other people. I love meeting other people when I go out of town. Why wouldn't I want to meet people in my own area, In recovery, I love to meet new people and reach out my hand and, meet newcomers or people that have just come to a meeting for the first time that I've never met, or when I go to a meeting for the first time and I meet new people. I love that, I love it when I go up to new places. And like Alex said on this vacation, he goes, it's so funny, like one of the things that I love about you is that you've kind of grown out of your shell. Because like if somebody's sitting next to us, like at the pool or at the beach, I will start talking to them like that. And he goes, you didn't used to do that, but now you do. And I've kind of grown through time with that. So, I think like I have to take that same attitude when I'm at home and doing it with my neighbors and with the people that I meet everywhere. And I am kind of starting to become my mother with not knowing a stranger, so to speak. Like when I'm at the grocery store or wherever I am, just talking to anybody. And that's okay. I like that. Back in the day, I'd be like, oh, mother, you talk to everybody. But now it's like I've come out of my social anxiety. And even though I still have it, like it gets exciting for me to talk to somebody that I don't know because it's new for me. I haven't always been that person. So I like to practice it, and when I see something that's open to that, like I like to talk to them. But anyway, okay, that's the meditation for the Linda Picone book. So let me know if you guys, do that. Do you do that in your own hometown? My sister-in-law reminds me so much of my mother when I was younger because she literally takes my nephews everywhere in Indianapolis that's free. I mean, Indianapolis has so many great things that are free. They have like arts festivals and they have, like different like cultural weekends and they have, like Venezuelan things that are for their family and, they have so many things. And she takes them literally to everything. She gets them so involved in like low cost or, free activities. These kids are constantly busy. She takes them to the Children's Museum, which Indianapolis has one of the greatest children's museums in the world, supposedly. And she's always taking them to stuff. And I'm like, and my mom did that when I was growing up as a kid. Like, if it was free, we were going to it. You know what I mean? Because she wanted to look for things to entertain. And there's so many free things for adults to do, And I don't do those things. watch Netflix, right? So, or listen to an audiobook or read a book. So I think like I have to take more advantage of those things. Okay, now this video is getting long, I apologize, but let's get into enjoyment in the language of letting go by Melody Beatty. Enjoyment. One of the prohibitions many of us learned in childhood is the unspoken rule, don't have fun and enjoy life. This rule creates martyrs, people who will not let themselves embrace the pleasures of day-to-day living. Many of us associated suffering with some sort of sainthood. Now we associate it with codependency. We can go through the day making ourselves feel anxious, guilty, miserable, and deprived. Or we can allow ourselves to go through that same day feeling good. In recovery, we eventually learn the choice is ours. There is much to be enjoyed each day, and it is okay to feel good. We can let ourselves enjoy our tasks. We can learn to relax without guilt. We can even learn to have fun. Work at learning to have fun. Apply yourself with dedication to learning enjoyment. Work as hard at learning to have fun as you did at feeling miserable. Our work will pay off. Fun will become fun. Life will become worth living. And each day you'll find many pleasures to be enjoyed. Today I will let myself enjoy life as I go through the day. It's such a fantastic meditation. You know, I think like so much of my life, somewhere along the way, I was raised by a lot of cynical, sarcastic people. So somewhere along the way, I learned that language of speaking from sarcasm and cynicism. And, you know, I also have this attitude of the glass is half empty because I'm an addict and an alcoholic, and many of us look at the world that way. Not all, but many of us do. And I learned along the way somewhere that, and probably in the last 5 to 6 years since I've been really involved in a 12-step program, I learned I don't have to look at the world that way. You know, it's a choice. That every day that I wake up, like I'm going to have the same burdens, the same troubles, the same joy, the same happiness, whether I look through that with eyes of negativity or whether I look through that with eyes of positivity. And even though I still have days where I'm down and I struggle and I get frustrated, I try to look through it with eyes of positivity today. Because listen, like I say all the time, this is not a dress rehearsal. We don't know how long we're going to be here, and we don't know how long others are going to be here. The same day is going to come and go. The same 24 hours is going to come and go. And how we receive it and how we participate it is our choice. We can participate in it and from a point of negativity, or we can participate in it from a point of positivity. Did I say that first? Positivity or negativity, we can participate in it. So it's our choice, right? Like, how do we want to see it? There are some days, people ask me all the time, how do you stay so positive? I don't. It's a lot of work. Today, I woke up, I was in a great mood. I've been in a great mood all day long. It's beautiful outside. I've had a great day. It's just been a fun day, right? I started it off with meditations and my prayers and my gratitude list and my affirmations. I was listening to music. I went and got my coffee, which I think is sitting around here somewhere. I just had a fantastic day. Other days, I wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Do you know what I mean? And it takes me a little bit more work. But sometimes I have to look specifically, okay, at that last day, the day that I'm not going to be here anymore, and I'm looking back on my life, on my deathbed, and I have to say, will I look back on this day and be like, I'm so happy that I was miserable and negative and sarcastic and cynical to the world? Or will I look back on that day and be like, you know what, that was a really fun day. Yeah, some shit happened. There were some things that weren't great. There was some negativity there, but you know what, I got through it. I had a great day. And often, I think that like attracts like. So when we're in a positive mood, we're gonna attract situations and people that are positive as well. I don't know about you, but I want to have more positive, peaceful, serene days than I do negative, hateful days. I don't want all that, okay? I've had enough of those in my life. I don't need any more. And the reality is, we are going to be served a certain amount of days in our life that are tragic, that are going to be tough enough for us to get through anyway. Why take great days and turn them into tragedies when we don't have to? Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.